Hey yo, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be continuing our suggestions to make maps a bit more competitive. I'm not sure what version of Olympus we'll get in Battle Royale Trios, whether we'll get the old one or the new one. I'd imagine we get the new one. So we're going to use the ALGS one. So we're definitely going to get the one that they're going to use for comp. Again, here's some settings you potentially have access to if you do the normal custom maps. I do get a code to be able to do, like an admin code, to be able to do this by myself in a lobby by myself from the Creator Hub. So shout out to them and EA for allowing me to do this. Again, I will be posting these videos in the Creator Hub. So my fellow creators can watch, give their own thoughts and opinions in the comments if they want to. And also, you know, there might be a possibility that some devs might see this and use either my suggestions or yours if you leave them in the comments. So be sure to do that. The next map we are going to do might be KC, just because it's the only one that's not in this system anymore. But I'll decide that, you'll see that in episode 3. But today we're going to do Olympus. I have a few gripes. I used to hate the old Olympus. I do like the new one a little bit more, but I do have a key thing that I want to mention. One of the things that I feel like has been overlooked when they changed the new Olympus to the new version is the issue of gardens and clinic. So when I mention that later in the video, think about what I'm proposing, if that makes sense. And think about what I have said is part of the problem. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you in there. Alrighty then, we are in. As you can see, I've already grabbed a power booster. We've landed at Fight Night. One of the things I want to start off with, and again, I'm going to try and speed through these a little bit because I want to try and make these a little bit more shorter and concise. First one was a bit longer because I hadn't scripted it at all, and I obviously rambled on a bit about some of the stuff and went into too much detail, if that makes sense, when I could have sort of outlined the thing I was suggesting and allowed you guys as the viewers to sort of guess what I was trying to say, essentially. But as I said in that video, in the intro, I want to try and make it as informative as possible so that you guys can sort of visualize what I'm trying to say. So like with the cave, for example, that I mentioned in that particular video, or the 2 caves that I'd particularly suggested in that video, it would have been easier for me. It's easier for me to show you rather than, you know, just say it. So, but this one should be a lot shorter because a lot of it is more so just talking about it. So let's get into it before I start rambling on. One of the things that my biggest gripe with Olympus, the old version and the new version, is that some of the POIs are just way too close together. For example, Power Grid, Fight Night, Carrier, Turbine. Like, these POIs, any one of them start fighting. So like if Power Grid starts fighting Fight Night, or Carrier starts fighting Fight Night, or Carrier starts fighting Turbine, like any of them are going to third and fourth party. And then once you're in this massive brawl, Stabilizer's just going to come and clean up. Oasis is going to also come in and potentially like look for, we should cruise over there. Look for you know, KP or finish the fight. So you basically end up with a 5th and 6th party coming in. Depending on the zone, Rift might even come over, and it used to be Energy Depot, but you know, gravity engine might also come over. Again, depending on the zone and on how fast they can get over here. In terms of the ALGS drop system, I love the drop system. Don't get me wrong. I don't like that turbine puts you out here. Honestly, it's horrible to try and get in to loot your POI. I would have much preferred that they change turbine in some way to allow the ship to actually like drop inside. Even if it was something to the effect of the turbine has stopped because now it's more so based on the gravity aspect of keeping this in the air. Do you know what I mean? Whatever the law reason they wanted to come up with. This compound here, I would love to see in more sections like here. And also these little compounds. I like this new addition here, by the way. These little compounds here, I also really like for, you know, like replace this singular building that's on its own here with one of these compounds. And then there's like a shelter here, which is just basically a gazebo. Literally, you'll know it if you've been over here. Put another one of these compounds there. Like, honestly, just make it more playable. That is one of Olympus's biggest problems, is its lack of playable space. I love what they've done with this underground section here, by the way. So if any devs see that, I love it. Love the fact there's multiple options out of gravity engine here, and the fact that it is quite open. But without further ado, let's move on to the next section, which will be covering estates. So we'll head on over there, and I'll bring you back once we're over there. Alright, I'm bringing you back early just because I'm on my way over to estates. But this is the compound I'm on about, by the way. The 4 little buildings. There's a lot of pills there. There's a bunch of loot. There's a little ship. Like, it's great. Yeah, that compound's great. I would love to see something done with these as well. We'll get onto it a bit more when I cover grow towers in a later section of the video. But these things here, I don't know what they're supposed to be. All right, I'm in a state. As you can see, I'm on the balloon. I'm trying to stay up in the air. So, basically, in my opinion, well, you know what, just fly up. We'll fly up here. My opinion, the rotates out of estates suck. It suffers from the opposite problem that this area, gardens and clinic, which we'll get onto later, suffers from. This is all low ground. Like, you know, we're already on high ground, then you go down, and then guess what? It goes down even further. You see the, you know, the ramps, right? Like, there's any zones, but like, you know, put off here, like, let's say that's the circle. Basically, anybody in the states that doesn't have a Valk is dead. Or an altar that has set up a TP already. Or that can get up here to set up a TP, depending on, you know, whether they can, you know. Basically, if you have a legend that can get you up here. But a lot of that's going to rely on having the information from scanning the recon beacon in the middle, right?
Survey beacon out there.
Survey beacon. If you've already scanned that and you don't know what space is playable, you basically need a Valk, otherwise you're screwed. But yeah, I personally think the rotates out are horrible. There is one thing that I will make use of in a suggestion later. When we get onto grow towers and gardens and that whole area, and it's this, like this whole like access stairway with the buildings underneath. Like, I love this. Obviously, it used to basically come from here and go straight up, but since they added dockyard, they added this little bit of extra, which I think makes it a bit more playable, because if there's ever a zone up here, you can just play here. especially you have an altar, you can just alter like queue through, right? So I really like the new POIs, by the way. Dockyard, Summers, and Stabilizer. Oh, and Gravity Engine. I really love them. I think they've done some amazing work with these POIs. I understand moving Elysium from here because it was very close to hydroponics, and the fact that they've added Dockyard as an actual POI made it so that it was basically impossible to keep Elysium there. I don't understand why we've put it so close to Summers University, though. Personally, I've said this for the longest time. Elysium should be over here, in my opinion. And then it makes this compound a bit more like usable as a actual lootable space. Clinic has to be wary of another team rather than Gardens, but then it also could it could add to one of the issues that I'm going to talk about when we get over here. So, without further ado, let's move on to the next part, which is basically the phase runner. Oh, okay, you can play up there in wildcard. Apparently you can't in normal BR. So anybody who's played Olympus in ranked for an extended period of time, like at any given point, knows that these phase gates are basically death. So unless you have to take them because you're going to die trying to just normally rotate, you know, I know there's teams holding you in Hammond and the ring's pulling towards the States, or hydroponics and they're holding your terminal, whatever the case may be, you basically just have to take the TP. Okay, you have to take it, right? But if you don't have to take it, you won't, because they are death traps. When somebody comes through them, it makes a really loud like alarm noise. And teams can just camp it and look at it, and once you come out of the little phase that it gives you, they will shoot you. It is a bit more apparent on the other side, so let me go through and I'll show you guys what I mean. Alright, so we're gonna go through. I grabbed the Evo whilst we was paused. Just get purple maybe for the extra speed. Anyway, so this area here is very campable because, you know, you have the buildings on either side. If there's no teams in this area and it's edge of zone, you're basically guaranteed that there'll be people waiting for you once the alarm, essentially it's a dinner bell, is going off. So, you know, I love that there's more access points to Gravity Engine by the doors. More playable space is what I'm trying to suggest. I don't understand if they don't want to do it. I'd love to see some sort of building here to allow for protection. Like, yeah, you could say, oh well, they'll just camp in the building. If it's a building that, you know, you have time to get out of, when you come out of the phase, you have time to get out of it or whatever. Again, I'm not a designer. I can't tell you what they should do. I'm just saying I would love to see some form of cover rather than just the boxes and
We should cruise over there.
hills, bins, whatever you want to call them. So one of the things I wanted to cover, and I'll just use the map because you have all this section here that seems quite clear, like looking at it. But obviously, it's all like raised ground, lowered ground, and there's boxes all over the place. If there's ever a circle here, you're basically screwed in this area because of the fact that there's only the boxes and stuff to play, and there's a lot of angles that people can get in comp and in rank, to be fair. I would like to see something done with the wall of bonsai as well. I don't know, give it some cover, tear it down. I don't know what they could do with it, but it's very open and hard to play. unless you have a Newcastle or a Rampart. But yeah, what I would suggest personally is either this compound or this compound get reproduced and put like here somewhere, and then maybe grab this compound and put it somewhere else, like over here, because I feel like although I love Summers University, this side is very lacking in the building cover department, and it basically forces you to play certain legends like Rampart, right? Like, or Newcastle. And as much as I like those legends, part of my suggestions is that I want to suggest certain things so that we don't have to run those legends, right? And the same thing with these two buildings here. You could like move these and put this compound there. I feel like it would add to grow towers. And I said earlier we would talk about this, right? So when we was playing scrims the other day, we had an end game that ended like literally here somewhere. Like it was like right here actually, I think. Oh, that's too far. Like right here, right? And I realized that the part of the issue that this has, well, maybe we could flatten this down a bit for a start, and then put a building there, right? Like make it a bit more playable. It's horrible to try and get out of here as well. Our particular spot was in this building here. So what we had to try and do was rotate out in the open with the team in the tower shooting at us. And we decided, oh, you know what? We'll try and just play the tower underneath them. And obviously they just, because they've done damage as we crossed, they just dropped down and killed us. But I feel like it might be a better experience if there was a bit more like, I don't know, get rid of this section here of some of this wall by the building so that it is like an access, and then extend this section a bit more out, maybe towards this, right? So that you got a bit more cover to play here and on the opposite side. Because if we were able to, because I can't remember whether we could have played here. You know what I mean? And if this wall was longer, we would have been safer for longer. But that's personal preference and like gripes. I love this backside of Grow Towers now. Like I love what they've done with it, especially like putting the balloon in the middle. Like it still feels like, you know, it feels like it's been there the entire time, basically. But let's get on to part of my issues. So personally, I think in the ALGS mode, at least, the towers shouldn't spin. That's personal preference. It's a personal gripe, if you will. But then Grow Towers, getting out of it and into the gardens clinic area, you basically have the ramp with the zip line, 2 ramps with the zip line, should I say, and this hill, right? So what I'm proposing, and I would love for the devs to do, is something similar to this building, where you have like the little access underneath, and what we showed off when we were over here in Dockyard, from here up to there, right? And basically you could basically have, rather than have the one long tunnel like over in Dockyard, you basically have it come straight up and then like split into 2 into a T, so that there's 2 options, go left or right, and it makes it a bit more playable but also a bit less playable, because obviously you would have to watch all 3 entrances to the actual stairwell. But yeah, without further ado, I'll bring you back when we're in the next section, which is actually going to be gardens and clinic and my personal issues with with them. So I'm gonna Valcolt, and when I'm like top of the Valcolt and we're flying over, I will bring you guys back. All right, so what I'm suggesting is basically the stairwell entrances be there. You know what I mean? Or you could even, with the one that comes to the right towards gardens, send it out a bit and bring it out over here. But that is up to the devs what they want to do. I'm just making a suggestion, as I said. If they did decide to extend it out and do like a little tunnel thing from that building into this underground section, I would like to see more cover on this underground section. Maybe some of these hedges. And then you could do the other side as well. You know, go from there and then bring it in from the new like addition here. Wings up. So, what is my issue with the gardens / clinic area of the map? My biggest issue with this part of the map is, if I'm not mistaken, it is the highest point on the map. I'm pretty sure you know, like area-wise, there's certain spots that might be higher. Hydroponics actually might be higher, I don't know. Bonsai might be higher, come to think of it. But anyway, beside the point, right? What I'm trying to say is this area, this entire section is very high up. And as we already discussed with Grow Towers only having the 2 chokes to go through, it is a bit of a kill box to get into this area unless you have a legend like Valk or Alter and can basically queue through where I want where I've said the devs should, in my opinion, put stairs. However, the other issue that it suffers from is this choke here and this choke here are pretty close together. They're not too far, not too close together, but they're pretty close. And it can cause issues with like fighting and then third parties and so on and so forth. Now, in ranked, in pubs, cool, whatever. Throw caution to the wind. Who gives? Who really cares? Right? But in comp, where people are trying to play their life and survive a lot more, I feel like inciting the violence, it goes back to, there was an interview done with the map designer of Stormpoint and World's Edge. Forget his name now. But he basically said the reason Stormpoint has the Forbidden Zone, or Jurassic as comp players call it, in the middle is because they realized that during World's Edge, the choke for Harvest Art was 0-0 on the map, and it caused a lot of problems with people trying to rotate through there and lots of fights occurring, right? So, with that being said, I did actually see a scrim highlight the other day of Falcons third party in a fight over here. And so 2 of them were fighting a team, not 2 of the Falcons, 2 of the team that was out here was fighting here. And the other one, which was Deeds, on this ramp. And to me, it highlighted an issue that when Falcons came into third party, right? Okay, cool. They're third party and they're looking for KP, whatever. People will play the game how they play the game. But it highlighted to me how close together these chokes actually are. And in my opinion, that causes an issue. So who knows how they would fix that, but that's a personal thing, as I have said. These are all my opinions. You can have your own opinions. You can disagree or agree with mine. I'm open to any comments and suggestions, whatever. So I think we've covered everything. Okay, that's everything I wanted to cover. Again, if you guys have suggestions yourself for any of the maps, including the ones we've already done, which is Storm Point and Olympus up to this point, by the way. Obviously, Olympus being this video. If you have any suggestions yourself for the maps, be sure to leave them in the comments. You never know, a dev might watch it. I am posting these in the Creator Hub, as I've said. So there's a potential that devs might see them because they do have access to videos that we post in there. And they do, as part of us applying, they take all our social links, obviously. And so it's very likely that they might see it. Especially if we make some very good suggestions, they might use them. And if you have any suggestions for other maps I haven't yet covered, also leave them in the comments, because if I use your suggestion in the video I do eventually make for those maps, I'll bring your comment up on the screen so that you can you know, get the credit, if you will. And yeah, and if the, you know, if the devs decide to use your suggestion because they've seen it in the video and they've seen they've read the comment themselves, then you know, it could be a pretty cool moment. You can turn around to your mates and be like, oh, by the way, I suggested this on a YouTube video, and they added it. It's kind of cool, isn't it? You know what I mean? So yeah, if that's something you I'm tripping over my words. But yeah, if that sounds like a cool potential thing to happen, then you know, leave your comments, suggestions in. Well, you leave your suggestions in the comments is what I meant to say there. But yeah, now I'm conscious that I'm starting to ramble, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and we will see you on the next one, which will probably be either KC or maybe even an E district. I don't know. But yeah, more than likely be KC, Kings Canyon, for anybody who doesn't know. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and remember to like and subscribe, and again, leave comments, any suggestions that you have yourself for any of the maps we've already covered, or the ones that we need to cover. See you on the next one. Peace.